Comments that may be offensive have been hidden. Show hidden comments. Let's go. The flat earth community refer to us as round earthers, which I think is just so silly. You got a lot of there. Bull. If you're legit, claim the Amazing Randy's prize, which is $2 million. Jacob, I came into contact to save you from listening to the video. He said he saw the earth being round 7 years ago. 333 likes. That's a number I keep saying today. With this volatile force by mistake. Fake bull, and everyone else should not believe this. There is no energy here. You are being deceived. Try to remember. Because I posted, where is it? Here we go. In the group Astral Projection Techniques over on Facebook, I posted, I really want the earth to be flat. But every time I astral project it out into space, it's been round. Some people read it in a way that I didn't type it. For example, they read the beginning bit, I really want the earth to be flat, in a kind of nasally, whiny tone, and decided to rain hell in the comment section. A hollow earth journey via astral projection, the video that I dropped 4 weeks ago now, quite a while ago, has racked up some comments. I'm going to be looking through them on camera, something I don't usually do. I was told that there were some flat earthers under here, as well as some negative comments. So we're just going to address some of those. And then I'm actually going to go and swing by my other video on the flat earth to look at those comments too. Could be opening up a can of worms for myself. Yes, of course. But I think it's going to be a good idea. So, I have the tabs open. I'm prepared. Let's get into it. Have you ever come across the hollow earth theory? It's a theory that suggests that the globe that we live on is actually hollow, and that within it lies its own central sun, as well as its own ecosystem. Now, what's most incredible about this theory is it actually starts to lean into the borders of a hypothesis. Now, what a hypothesis is compared to a theory which is all made up and just sounds good, is that a hypothesis is something that's actually kind of been proven. Matter of fact, there are elements to the theory that are lending towards the idea of this actually being science fact. What is this proof that I'm talking about? I'm talking about caverns that have been discovered that supposedly lead into the center of the earth. Now, why do I say supposedly? Well, because the sources of which actually come from. I really enjoyed growing out that beard. It took me a year to do. It was after a bout of 1 year and 4 months of minoxidil usage, as well as derma pen usage and derma rolling. It worked. It definitely worked. I'm gonna grow it back again at some point. I just wanted to give my skin a rest, all the blow drying and what may have you, the maintenance side of things were taking a toll on my skin. I didn't give it a rest after my minoxidil use. Those of you out there who know what that is, brilliant. Those of you who don't, it's a foam that you put on your face to help speed up the rate of growth of hair on your face. That's a roundabout way of saying it. Now, comments, 169 comments. Some of these I've replied back to already, so I'm going to skip those. Let's look at some that I haven't seen. 13 days ago from Mother Rose says, "Hi Ryan, my first out-of-body experience was summer 2021. I went out through my window and flew around our town, but looks like in a different era, time travel. Yeah. After the first experience of OBE, I have a lot more, but all this experiences of OBE, I felt that there was somebody holding my body and controlling me where to go. Some of my experiences are good and some are scary." Yeah, you probably had someone shadowing you for a little bit, by the sounds of it. Some of them can be scary. You just gotta make sure you don't astral project at night. As soon as the sun goes down, you're more likely to astral project into the etheric plane, where some of these like shadow beings actually are, and they love people who get scared easily. You're easy pickings for them. If you're not scared easily, they just walk right past you. They don't bother you in the slightest. Love this. Thank you for sharing. I wish you could draw these amazing places in Blender so you could show us what they look like in 3D. Trust me, 42 core. I thought about it. I'm familiar with Blender. Remember my 3D animation of the brain that I created some years back? One whereby which it shows you which parts of your brain lit up as you were listening to solfeggio frequencies. These frequencies are amazing. They make you feel all sorts of sensations running throughout the spine, in the brain, and I show you it. I show you it in real time. I use Blender for that. And although that's quite impressive of a feat, it took me months of learning because I didn't know anything before I started using that platform. And that took up an incredible amount of time. I thought about using that program for the purpose of showing you the city that I found inside of the center of the earth. But the amount of learning I would have to learn just to render out those sites would be astronomical. And I'm more comfortable with painting it, but I have no painting supplies here. However, I did use Discord. I'll show you that now. This allows me the ability to punch in a prompt. As you can see here, we got realistic spirited away. I just punch that in there, and this AI listened to my command prompt and tried to generate an image indicative of my prompt. It does a decent job, but I find it really does mess up with certain images, like dinosaurs, for example. It's only just recently figured that out due to the version 6 update, but still it has some trouble with horns. This, however, isn't a dinosaur, it's a dragon. The dragon that resides within the Spirited Away universe. And it looks more like a painting, and that's because it went online to look at reference material, and of course Spirited Away is an animation, and so it seemed to have just surmised that although I said realistic, I must have wanted some type of artistic flair to it all, and I didn't, which is the problem. I would need to put more in there to give a more accurate depiction of what I want. But here too, we have some examples. Gave me some more Studio Ghibli vibe-esque illustrations. Not quite what I asked for though. Not quite what I asked for. Although again, I'm aware that there's more you can add to it. Trust me, I got really good with this at one point. And I have to keep learning more when it comes to the new versions that come out because they require a different level of prompt skill. Here we have the closest thing it could give me to a realistic Goku without me putting too much time into it. But as we scroll up here, now you're really starting to see some of the realism shine. I asked it for a realistic David Martinez, from Cyberpunk, and it gave me, well, I guess some realism here, but it was way off. So you can see the issues I'm having here. I tried to get this at one point to give me illustrations of the city that I saw inside the center of the earth. And it just wasn't doing it for me. So much so to the point where I didn't feel like what it was giving me was worthy of the final cut. As you notice within the Hollow Earth video here, it's pretty editing intensive. Like I put a decent amount of effort into this one, and it fell short around the third part of the video. And that's where you really needed, the payoff. That's where you really needed to see the city of Agartha. And the best thing I can come to it was this castle, Windsor Castle. It's pointy, sure. It's tall as well, yes, but that's not the perfect representation of what I saw. And so, a lot of people missed out when it came to what it looked like. However, it did come kind of close. Here we have some pyramids, but I might talk about that later. It did come kind of close. If we come up here, I can show you what it did give me, and I can kind of break down some of the things that were, a little bit more representative of what I saw, minus what I didn't. Here we have Anubis. This is actually what Anubis looked like minus the blue stripes, they were more black and they came down, and this was more flowy, like it was made out of a metallic headdress, but like a metallic fabric, you know, like a mesh headdress. This type of metallic is more solid. Of course, it came from a different pharaoh. That's what Midjourney kind of extracted it from. But his face, his skin, how he's standing, that's exactly like the Anubis that I met in the astral plane. If you're interested in that video, I'll leave a link in the description. You can also find it somewhere up here. But that was an incredible experience. I tried to give him more glowy eyes, unlike the experience, but it just gave me this, and I was happy with this, you know, very high quality. I can take you through this all day. I've got a lot in here, but to save time, let's just, here we go. So, if you can remember in the video, I talked about these archways that were placed above a kind of walkway within the city of Agartha. These archways underneath this walkway is more indicative of what I saw, except when it comes to the shape, except they weren't this thick, and they certainly weren't supporting the walkway. You know, this area here, this region, this is what more or less was supporting, and here too, the walkway. But these shapes, they look like the archways that were on top, but they were singular. And for the most part, they were damaged. Now, it was able to give me a better representation of that. I'll show you that in a second, but let's actually swing back to this oasis here. This was quite accurate, except to remove this section here and just make it fall off of a waterfall. All of this water, just let it fall off a waterfall. The whatever this is back here wasn't there, of course. It was way more open. This looks a little bit more cluttered in the sky. But if you can just imagine off to the far right, a giant crystal palace, now you're on the money. Now you're on the money. And imagine it kind of reflecting hues of purple, pinks, and yellows. And you get the palace of Agartha. I'm not sure who lived there. I'm assuming it was a type of being that I saw, but there's many different races inside the center of the earth. And so here we have Discord really trying its best with the kind of castle-like palace up here. But these domes weren't there, these dome-shaped buildings. And again, this wasn't good enough for me to post on my YouTube channel. Okay, now we've got Midjourney really cranking out some realistic stuff here. Look at that. These people do not exist. At one point, it just gave me giant crystals rather than a crystal palace, which wasn't right. And the scenery isn't really correct. Over here, sure, the rock formations around this giant crystal, but everything else, no. And the sky is too earthy. Well, too human to be the center of the earth, if that makes sense. I also tried using different prompts, like a castle made out of acrylic, but of course, the AI assumed that because I used acrylic, I must have meant an acrylic miniature, right? And so it gave me a tiny crystal made out of acrylic outside near a little stream of water. We have here a reptilian coming out of one of the caverns leading out of the center of the earth. I was just having fun there. It also gave me these kind of weird alien looking things. That looks disgusting. Kind of looks like a tiny mummy that was found, which has since been proven to be false. Check this out, a UFO coming out of one of the giant caverns leading into the center of the earth, observed by an army officer. This is really fun. This is when Midjourney really does shine. I loved it. Loved it a lot. Giant mushrooms, often reportedly seen, I say often, was reportedly seen, it's not like everyone goes to the center of the earth nowadays, was reportedly seen by some famous explorers that I mentioned in my last video. And here, I just got it to render some soldiers, some army soldiers, wandering throughout these giant mushroom forests. That would get you incredibly high, I'm sure. Let's find these archways. Where are you? I asked for mastodons, which are basically woolly mammoths. They are woolly mammoths because apparently they exist also within the center of the earth. I didn't see any of those, although I didn't travel far enough. I'm sure they very well could be there. But this looks more like a normal elephant. Its head is kind of bulbousy, like a woolly mammoth, like this one here, but not quite enough. Here we are. So these archways here looked more indicative of what I actually saw on top of the walkways. Within and about the city of Agartha, in that they were simple yet complex in certain sections. It didn't quite do a good enough job when it came to showing the different colors of light. They were more spread out. They weren't just, singular when it comes to this line within this archway here. And then the way I was able to get it to create these here was by asking it to give me a tall alien archway made from clear rainbow acrylic resin, which surprisingly enough, it didn't give me a tiny one this time, but it did kind of just create it as a piece outside somewhere in the middle of the woods. And because of the background, it didn't look good enough, and also it was just freestanding. There's nothing else around it. There's no castle, there's no oasis. It kind of looks like someone just made this and placed it on Earth in the middle of a forest. Tried to get the groundwork sorted out, and it just couldn't figure that out. I tried to get loads of little tiny shards of crystal that were just laying flat, just enough, all pointing the one way. Again, reflecting hues of pinks and yellows and blues, but it just gave me this more like river-esque type pebble look inside of an apartment, which is obviously that's why I didn't put it in the final video. Here we have some more. This one's more like what I saw, but it's a little too thick. It's taller, and there's more destructive damage that happened to one of the sides. These are really starting to look alien. Okay. And then again, we've got some more images of what it thought Agartha looked like. These aren't too far off. It's just because of the minor issues of, for example, making all of these concrete as opposed to crystal. I don't want to give the wrong representation of what I saw in there, and so I couldn't leave this in the final cut. Just imagine all of this being made out of the same type of material as the archway that I showed you earlier. Put these archways on top, have them run down, remove this section, have it drop off, and create that palace up here. You'll have something indicative of what I actually saw. It's an amazing place. Now, let's get more into these comments. 4 weeks ago, I replied back to this one. Hi Ryan, just wanted to say that after 8 years, I was finally able to astral project last week, twice. So super excited for the future to come. That is amazing. Congratulations, Gilbert. Astral projection is so fun. Like, it's incredible. The places I've been and the things I've seen dinosaurs. I saw how the pyramids were built. The center of the earth, I can go back in time. Anyone can go back in time. By the way, if you want to learn how to astral project, I have a bunch of free content on my YouTube channel, but I also have courses on my website, ryancooper.com. Love these kind of vids where you share your astral projection experiences. Love learning what's out there. I once went to Saturn. It was as expected. Awesome. Yeah, space. I remember this one time I was out in space and I could see all these lines leaving the earth, these silver lines leaving the earth and just shooting out into the void of space. You know what those were? Those were the cords that connect people from their bodies. Those people were astral projecting out into space. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who keep asking the question, Ryan, why don't you have a silver cord? I don't know. Some people have theorized that it's because I died at one point. I drowned when I was 16. That could be it, but yeah, I don't have a silver cord, and I don't know why. No, I don't get lost neither. Dude, this is incredible. I love your astral projection stories. Thank you, Mikey Jesus. Okay, let's look at some of the more controversial. Let's go here, held for review. comments. Nice work, you're up to date. I don't think so. I think there's a problem here. Comments are removed after 60 days. Okay, that makes sense. Maybe we can just find some that got past the profanity filter. Thanks, Ryan. This was awesome. Looking forward to the next one. Let me tell you, this is an experience right here. Being able to share a story and have people really respond to it really well, it makes me want to share more. It's almost like having a conversation with people. Like, you know, and this happened, and this, and you're like, wow. It just makes you want to keep talking. You inspire me to make more content. I have a few more in the works, trust me. Your videos are always powerful. You're one of our pioneers. There we go, our pioneers. Alfreya, is that how you say it? I might butcher that. And thank you for this video and all your wisdom. Welcome back. Thank you. I know. Yeah, thanks. Okay, these are all pretty good. I don't see any... I've searched this... I don't see any negative ones. I've searched this topic for years and read a book which said everything you said. Thing is, it was written by fishermen from 1929. You just confirmed it, Ryan. What the heck? 1929 from a fisherman? I haven't heard of that. I wonder what he said. That's incredible. Remarkable. You know what's really fun with astral projection? It's when you go back in time, you can come back and Google the area that you visited back in the 1960s, 1950s, further back if you want. Whenever cameras were first created, you can find a picture somewhere of the environment that you traveled to. And it blows my mind how perfectly accurate they are. This one time I astral projected and I went to Amersham, okay? It's a town over from my mum's town. And I left my body, I went over to Amersham and I went back in time. And I watched the, well, reconstruction, because it rewinds everything, of a monorail in the, is it a monorail? A tramway, there we go, a tram, being constructed throughout the middle of Amersham. After I saw it, I came back to my body and I Googled Amersham in the past and I saw a picture of the same tramway coming down the hill and through the city. Moments like that just confirm astral projection for me and for a lot of people, I'm sure. It's insane. Who needs books when you get Ryan? Thanks. Not seeing any negative ones under here, which is great. I think if they are here, they're like hidden. I remember one person was saying, like, why are you covering up the fact that the Earth is flat? To which I said, it's not, it's round. Now let's look at the flat Earth video here, okay? I astral projected, went out into space, and I believe this was probably the first time I saw the Earth being round. So the title of this video is Flat Earth Theory, What I Saw Whilst Astral Projecting. The comments under here are controversial, let me tell you. Okay, wow, this explains so much. I've always believed in parallel universes. Yeah, this was a good video. I talked about alternate universes. Because in my last astral projection experience, my room looked different. And my parents were in the living room with their friend. And I distinctly remember my dad wasn't home and my mum was in bed. Yes, the realities can be quite different. You're shifting into parallel as well as alternate universes. Different says parallel because they run right beside ours. They're quite similar. Alternate are vastly different with incredibly advanced species of entities and beings that think using telepathy most of the time, if they have words. Your energy, personality, and honesty comes through to me in the video. I've seen similar things while out exploring. Keep on projecting. Maybe someday we'll meet in the unknown. The unknown. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I like it. It's better than the further. They use that to describe the etheric plane, or rather the astral plane in Insidious. I don't like that. They just kind of, basically, In Insidious, the dimension that they go to, that they refer to as the further, is actually a sub-dimension in the astral plane called the etheric plane. That's why it looks so dark and dingy. But in that movie, they just call the further the astral plane, as if that's what the entirety of the astral realms look like, and they don't. They don't look like someone has a fog machine on the floor and it's just kind of floating up in your face. Nothing like that. However, the color is pretty accurate. It's desaturated over there in the etheric plane. To save you from listening to the video, he said he saw the Earth being round 7 years ago. 333 likes. That's a number I keep saying today. 20 replies, because that's what was embedded in his subconscious since he was young. No, actually, a lot of people have been able to astral project, and they all see the same thing. Not only that, but experts, of course, around the world. You're looking at scientists, astrophysicists, they all see the same. It's round. It's round. Trust me. If it was flat, I would be pretty stoked, you know? But every time I leave my body, it's round. It's not a subconscious thing. If it was my subconscious mind, believe me, I would know. I got really good at exploring my subconscious mind and trying to figure out how much of that I could actually project into the astral realm after getting pretty good at projecting it within my lucid dreams. And it turns out that you can't create anything in the astral realm when it comes to the environment. You can't change the environment at all. You can project thoughts and project, create tulpas and create things from your mind in the astral plane, sure. But you ain't changing the astral plane. That's just not gonna happen. Even if you're using your subconscious mind, you can't do that. Thank you. I scrolled down right after the start for this reason. Jeez. That's kind of unsettling. I mean, okay. I guess they didn't want to watch a video. So yeah, you kind of click, you scroll down, and you look for answers. You kind of miss out on a lot of the juicy details. It wasn't just about the Earth being flat or round. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, there are alternate dimensions in there, parallel dimensions. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on in there. You miss out on all of that. But hey, if you don't want to watch a video, if you rather just get straight up answer, okay. I wanted to listen. Thank you. Actually, I like that. Thanks. He loves talking crap. Others would disagree. Every time someone they're agreeing with this comment to save you from having to listen to the video. I put my hard work and my soul into creating something fun and entertaining, and to know that people would rather just not watch it, I'm gonna be honest, it kind of sucks. I know just kind of ignore it and sure, people are gonna be how they want to be, but it's kind of like if you were to make something that tasted really good. I know that sounded really arrogant, but imagine if you made, because this happens with my daughter, I make her food and I'm like a chef with it, right? Do everything, the whole 9 yards. And I give it to her, I'm like, here you go, Theo. I have this whole dramatic entrance. I get down on one knee. She laughs. And then she'll go for the simplest thing there, ignore everything else, and then not touch it at all. Okay, let's just keep going. Ryan, you were awesome, and I'm grateful to have you as a source of information and inspiration. Thank you for posting this. Thank you, Cool Breeze and Cadence. I liked that 7 years ago too. These are amazing. There are often good people out there too. I actually found some here that were held for review across my channel. Here we go. We got a lot of here. If you're legit, claim the Amazing Randy's prize, which is $2 million. Jacob, that prize was disbanded in 2015 because people couldn't prove the existence of supernatural and or paranormal abilities. And so they just gave up. So you can't claim that anymore. He's talking about the interview that I had with Ernst Wieder. He's an individual over on TikTok that can move things with his mind and levitate off the ground. I featured him on my channel because I found it really difficult to discredit his abilities. I make videos, I can edit things, I can tell when someone's editing stuff. I'm often that person in the room that ruins a movie for everyone else because I spot the inconsistencies in so many parts of whatever we're watching. So when I encountered this individual's videos, I was stunned at the fact that I couldn't figure out how he was faking it. And it's because I don't believe he is faking it. I think it's actually legitimate. And when I looked at all of his students, they all seem to be able to move in the same way as him when it comes to lifting off the ground, as well as to be able to move objects the same way as him. And in all of their videos, I couldn't tell if they were faked. They all looked legitimate. And so I figured, okay, his assistant reached out to me. Let's try and figure something out. Let's see if we can get him on the channel and I'll put him in front of you guys. So if you're out there and if you wanted to learn how to do this for a while, definitely just give him a look over, okay? He seems to be an interesting person. 100%. If you want to check out that video, you can also do that. It's a long one. It's like 2 hours long. I just move my hands. Is working. I mean, yeah, imagine when, for example, it's not hard to see. Yeah, his video seems to be getting quite a lot of hate here. There's a string behind his palm. So I think he's talking about thumb strings where you put like the string around your thumb and your index finger and you move things. It looks like you're moving something with your mind. Although there are ways to fake telekinesis, I wouldn't go so far as to say that he's doing that just because of the other content that I've seen on his TikTok account. We got here fake bullshit, and everyone else should not believe this. There is no energy here. You are being deceived. Try to remember. Yeah, like I said, form your own opinion. Go over to his TikTok account. Check out all of his stuff. Is he fake? Is he real? I'm leaning towards legitimate just because of his other videos. Not only that, but I've spoken to him personally and he describes things in ways which only people who have played with energy would really describe. I'm leaning towards him being legitimate. His videos aren't the only ones that get ripped into. Of course, I have ones here that seem to, let's see. At 1040, you must have been an idiot if your identity consisted of where you went to school, who your friends are. I can't imagine such stupidity. Do people really do that? It's like the damn Inquisition, but in modern times. It sounded like a very... that person took it personally. I was talking about how we identify with who we are based on our upbringing and certain factors in our upbringing, and that is true. Your circle of friends you spent time with for the majority of your, let's say, your earlier years in life, you still feel connected to them. You still feel like you're a part of that group in some way. They gave you an identity, a certain way of being, speaking, and dressing. That's not unacceptable. Like that's a fact. And there are other things too when it comes to where you were raised, the house you grew up in, the street you grew up on, who you met on the street. They all gave you a reference when it came to who you thought you were and who you think you are to this day. You know, so that was a month ago. Jeffrey, I don't know what the issue is, but it isn't that. Astral is subconscious mind, the eighth sphere of hell trap, boundary outside the self. Don't lose yourself there. I don't know where that information is coming from. I tend to just astral project. I don't tend to get lost in what other people are saying about what things are, what things aren't. I think it's safe if you just follow astral projectioners that can actually do it because they can give you more accurate information. Do you receive dream messages and or own a dream journal? Ryan Cropper, Christ is calling you to the fold. Brother, do not be fooled by astral spirits who pretend to be your friend and leads your spirits astray. It's all a trick. I don't get fooled by astral spirits. But I appreciate your concern. I've met Jesus a few times in the astral plane. Actually, I met him last month as well. I didn't think I'd be seeing a visit. I didn't think I'd be getting a visit from him anytime soon. That was interesting. So yeah, these are some of the comments I get on a daily basis. I do have a profanity filter, so unfortunately, the comment section under my actual videos, although they look spick and span and amazing, it's not indicative of how I'm actually treated online. I'm okay with this. I don't tend to interact with this side of YouTube. And now I've kind of become so used to just understanding where projections come from. There are so many different degrees to why a person, reasons as to why a person would project and say what they do under my videos. All of them have nothing to do with me. And that's just, that's okay. As long as they're not in my room, at my house, or saying or doing anything, hopefully I'm not jinxing myself, I'm okay with that. Comments that may be offensive have been hidden. Show hidden comments. Let's go. Show. Yeah, another telekinesis one. As a telekinetic practitioner, this man is one of my biggest motivators. It's fake, you complete moron. Yeah. What if he isn't? I find nowadays it's really hard to figure out what's real and what's not real. Flat earthers. Last month was the first time that I came into contact with the flat earth and the round earth community. If I can say, I don't want to say it like that because I don't think there's such a thing as a round earth community because it doesn't make sense. The flat earth community refer to us as round earthers, which I think is just so silly. And I came into contact with this volatile force by mistake because I posted, where is it? Here we go. In the group Astral Projection Techniques over on Facebook, I posted, I really want the Earth to be flat, but every time I astral project it out into space, it's been round. Not an aerial shot of a dome, but a sphere that I can fly around. There have been no stars and the sun white. What has everyone else seen whilst out of body? Dome, flat, or spherical? The Earth, however, does appear to be hollow, ... right? I just want to kind of lay down some things that I've seen and mention. The fact that there was no stars, everything's pitch black, and that the sun is white is quite interesting. Those have been claims that have been actually proven. I really thought this was going to be taken well. Some people read it in a way that I didn't type it. For example, they read the beginning bit, I really want the Earth to be flat, in a kind of nasally, whiny tone and decided to rain hell in the comment section. If we view, here we go, and we can kind of scroll down. Where is it? Where is it? We got a lot of people. It's around to me. Not all conspiracies are true, but I guess it's cool to question. This is a very level-headed person, James Lopez, and look outside the box. However, when the truth comes knocking, it's best to accept and make peace. Yeah, right? You're likely seeing the firmament. The firmament, I'm more likely to believe in that. Okay, the firmament is this concept that we're actually underwater and that there are two oceans. There's the ocean that we know, and then there's this air atmosphere, then we punch through another ceiling of water. I mean, the fact that there are astronauts going out there in suits that are like diving suits, deep sea diving suits, and that are also becoming compromised by floating water. How'd the water get in there in the first place? You know what I mean? Now I feel like I'm going into conspiracy mode, but I'm more likely to believe that there's water out in space. I'm more likely to believe in the firmament. I just don't believe that we live on a flat earth, in a domed flat earth, underwater, you know? Simon says it's always a sphere, but sorry, I can't resist because jumping on the flat earth groups and causing mayhem before being discovered and booted out is one of my favorite pastimes. So I don't know. We both agree that it's a sphere. I think I don't know why he's posting this here, but look what he says. He says, here's a boat traveling to Antarctica, according to stupid round earthers. I think he's just taking the mick out of flat earthers here. Because yeah, this doesn't, you can see it in their eyes when they make an assumption like this, a mistake like this. and I've tried filling in the blanks and it doesn't quite work. It just causes arguments. Basically, of course, flat earthers think that round earthers, because we believe the earth is round, then we should be, kind of tripped up by this picture. If the earth is round, then that means that water below it should fall and that boats should fall too, right? And so they show this miraculous image of a boat somehow being stuck to the earth, as if they are missing important. Like, this is my brain. My brain finds it hard to comprehend that there are people out there that don't understand width and gravity. Of course, when a planet is so large, you can be on the bottom of it and think that you're on top of it. You don't know that you're on the bottom of it because everything is so large and gravity is pushing against you. You're not only stuck to it like this boat, but you don't have a perception of being upside down. It's normal. It's completely normal. If the planet was smaller, of course this would be a problem. But it's not. It's so large you have no clue that you're underneath it. And that's basic knowledge that often gets taught in elementary. That's not. I'm not insulting anyone. That's elementary level information that we're taught. I believe there's a gap in information where for some reason people aren't either being taught this information about physics or they choose not to believe in it, but it leads to conclusions like this, where they throw away gravity and size and the implications of the mass of an object on our psyche, and then kind of belittle it to just the smallest of examples, and then say, well, duh. But I find this gap in knowledge is everywhere when it comes to flat Earth statistics, and that's why oftentimes they find themselves proving themselves wrong, unfortunately. But hey, this wasn't supposed to be a video on bashing flat earthers. I'm just so confused, and I think so many other people are also confused. I remember seeing stars, but that's it. Okay, that's awesome. I don't know. Yeah.